All right, let's hit up some brutals.
Power grip on the wasteland tightens with each corpse in your outpost.
Did that every time they talk. That was very loud though. Damn, that blew up my eardrums. Oh, we're getting kills over there. Yum yum. All right. Guess who gaming? Athena, goddess of wisdom and war. But this has a thingy here. So I go. Okay. If you could merge two distinct video games into a new one, which would you pick and how would it turn out? Damn, that's a really good one. Two distinct video games. Initially my thought was like genres, but you're saying, oh man. You know, probably I'm gonna get dubs. Trap and Assassin. Beautiful. Oh. Did I bloodlust something else? Oh yeah. Huh. Look at this. Awesome base already. My first thought is like GTA and maybe like Minecraft. And not in the blocky sense necessarily, because I think that would turn out sucky. I think being able to build... I mean, most MMOs have tried it to some degree. I remember Star Wars Galaxies or something had that, and actually, that just reminded me of a really funny... So that game, it was an MMO, obviously based in the Star Wars universe, and there was an island. So there was like a bunch of like player-driven like towns and stuff. You could buy a plot. You could put up like a moisture farm. You'd buy houses, and there were like people who built stuff. And I actually had a really hilarious. It was an ugly ass female Wookiee. Oh my god! It all came around full circle. That's so weird. Sorry, I just had like a knot of. So my Wookiee was an entertainer. That was like one of the professions, and I made her huge and ugly as hell. She had like pink splotches and like purple fur, and everyone would so you'd set up in a shop and you'd give bonuses. Like if you danced in like the cantina, people would like come by and they'd like tip you, but they didn't need to. Just being in your presence, if I remember correctly, would give them a boost. But most people were pretty cool. And people would tip me not to stay there because they hated looking at my dude. Oh, that was such a blast. So, anyways, I bought a plot. I bought like a stake basically, and then you put it in the ground somewhere, right? Um, and there was a town that was on a small island in like one of the cooler, um, like, okay, he's dead. Like worlds, I guess. Let's just say it was like Naboo or something. Like it was, it looked cool. It wasn't like Tatooine all sandy and shit. So there was this island, and this community had kind of like made its own town. And at the time, and this is like I'm gonna try and speed run through this because there's a lot that happened. So basically, I was at that cantina as the Wookiee entertainer. I don't remember what I named her. This guy comes in and he's just like, "Hey man, is anyone here?" And it was like 1 in the morning, and I was just fucking around, right? And most people had gone AFK. They were just like letting their dude do their thing and like maybe build up skills. I don't remember how that worked exactly, but I remember I was the only one who was like present there. And it had been a guy who'd been playing the game for like ever. He had stuff that had been like discontinued, his mounts and stuff, and he's just like, "Hey, do you want like all of this stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, like, but like why?" And he's like, like honestly, this game hasn't been good for me." And it was kind of it was a sad reason. This is like a spiral upward, huh? Got an unholy and infernal lighthouse. Um he's like, I'm like drinking a lot of the nights, and it's just not. I feel like I'm in like a negative place kind of deal. And he's like, I'm just cutting it cold turkey. And I was like, oh shit, dude. Well, hey, like I feel bad just taking your shit. Like, do you want to like shoot the shit a little bit and like tell me, whatever? Just because it wasn't like he was like desperate or anything. But you know, he's like clearly in a weird spot, and I just thought, hey, you know, it'd be nice to listen to him. So he was talking about like how he started in this clan and this guild and blah blah blah, and was putting in, you know, long hours on this thing, and he had accumulated a shit ton of stuff. And it's only relevant because he gave me like a mansion. It was like a huge castle. He gave me this dewback, which was like this mount that was like discontinued. Like he's like, whatever you do, like. So we had talked for like maybe an hour or two, and he seemed like he was in a good place. He was just like, I'm just done, you know. He's like, whatever you do, if you leave the game, just don't let that dewback get buried. Like it's like, you know, they discontinued it. It's kind of like one of those so rare you'll never see it again types. And I was like, yeah, sure, man. Ooh, that was juicy. So I went outside and I put the dewback on as like my mount, and immediately I was like fucking accosted by like everybody in town being like, how much? How much? So I don't know how rare that thing was, but like there were people who were much like, you know, all geared out and shit, and nope. And they were asking like, yo, I will trade you this many mounts for this. So I was like, all right, this thing is like heavy valuable. But he had also given me a like this mansion, and I had gone to this island where this community had set up shop. This is where this is where I was a little bit of a turd. I was just kind of always stirring the pot. So I went to this island this community had started up, and I plopped my big ass mansion, which was bigger than everyone else's, onto the island. I see. And then you could name your house, and I named mine, like, so all the town had, like, let's just say, like, Caldera. Like, Caldera Blacksmith, Caldera, you know, Bakery, let's say. So I put the plot down, and I wrote Mayor of Caldera. I plopped it down. And it was fun. Yeah, I wanted to blow that up, but no thanks. So I sat on that, and it was about a day, and then I got a message. Wow, what the hell's up with this? Huh. And I got a message from someone who's like, hey, are you the owner of blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you're not the mayor. I'm like, yeah, I am. And he's like, no, you're not. Like, I started this with my, you know, brother a while back, and I was like, well, you know, I just got voted. It was a recent election you guys weren't present for, but the rest of the citizens voted me in. And he's like, no, they didn't, dude. Like, these are literally all my friends. And I'm like, I'm sorry your friends turned on you, but I'm the mayor. Just like trying to be a turd. Oh, man. You know, I could see why it's very, like, that's annoying. But at the time, it was also, I had a different outlook on games. I was like, you know, none of this is real. Like, you know, if it was, you know, if I actually was like squatting on someone's like family plot, you know, that'd be different. But this is a game, and a lot of times I like to just, not remind people that it was, but I didn't take it as seriously. So this guy called a GM, which is like the game master, to come out, and, you know, he's like, hey, man, what's going on with this? And I'm like, well, I doubled down. I was like, well, I talked to some people here, and they said they were looking for a mayor. I said I'd do it, and they said cool. So I just took that as I was voted in. He's like, no, they didn't. They're all my friends. Like, what are their names? I'm like, it was like 1 a.m, dude. I don't remember, but I had this plot. You know, they wanted new blood. They saw that I had some money to bring, and I said sure. And you know, I said maybe I could whip this town into shape. And he's like, he's getting really mad now talking to the GM. He's like, this is bullshit, dude. This guy just threw this down, but like at the same time, you can throw it down wherever. So I was like, all right, well, anyways, I got business to attend to. And I went inside my house, and I went up to I had like a multi-floor where it had balcony. And I went out on the top. I went out to the top floor with the balcony, and I started making mayoral decrees. And eventually he got really, really mad. He got the rest of the villagers to come. It was like, this happened like 3 days later. Because he's like sending me messages. He's like, hey, man, we're having another vote. So now he's like playing into the narrative I made, which made me that made me laugh even harder. And so I'm like, there's no way I'm missing this next election. That never should have happened in the first place. And I got there, and they all voted me, and they were like, hey, voted me out. And I was like, well, listen, it was a privilege to serve you in the short amount of time that I had. I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like we grew as a community. You know, Caldera is, you know, we put it on the map. And he got so mad that I wasn't taking it seriously, which of course just makes me laugh harder, and that's not good. You know, some of those guys out there, the only way to win is just not to play. You know, if they're playing their own game, which I was, you know, you can't, just don't engage. That's the only way. Ooh. Wait. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, like GTA with like a building aspect where you could build towns and kind of raid into others. I mean, maybe like even a medieval type of vibe, maybe like chivalry. No, not what's the one where it's like you're the son of a blacksmith and he always says Jesus Christ be praised. Like that's like the quote in that game that's said over and over again. No, it's not Deliverance, is it? Deliverance is the banjos. Kingdom Come Deliverance, maybe. Yeah. Like Kingdom Come plus like a GTA. Can you build in? Well, you know what I mean. I'd love to be able to build like a town or a fort or like a, you know, like if it was a scrapyard, what the hell? Like Thunderdome kind of thing. Like you could have out in the wastes and like you'd raid other people for their goods and come back and bring it, and you'd have like a community, and like things would disappear as they get destroyed and rebuilt, and maybe like a planet side. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I there's really not a one that exactly encapsulates other than like the freedom of GTA and like getting in vehicles and flying around and the ability to build and like create a town that's yours and like create roles and, you know, kind of enforce it if you need to. I probably need to focus more. I don't think he insulated high, so I'm going to start picking this apart. Just like aiming high there, and then up there I can probably get 2. All right, 2 there. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Cool. That one, not quite. I didn't shoot that one high enough. You could merge 2 distinct video games. Yeah, probably. You know, and I can't think of another builder that's similar to, like, Minecraft-esque. Although I don't want it all blocky. I'd like it realistic, but the ability... yeah, fuck. Okay. I like that he's got this ramp down kind of deal. It's cool. I guess I have to push in. I'm dead. There's just... Oh, yeah. Wow. Holy. Okay. I think the side ones are actually more doable than some of the... Yeah. Can I... And sometimes down here, when people don't get the top part, you can kind of sneak in. But... I'm not seeing that. No. Oh, here we go. Maybe. That one really gave me some hope. But yeah, something with an open world, but ability to change the landscape. I would like. I love the interactions and the randomness of encountering other players. I like the randomness and potential aggressiveness, like conflict or funny situations, like some, you know, a biker gang is out there and like we attack them or they attack us. I think that's cool. At the same time, like if you put me into adversarial games, I start getting pretty competitive, which isn't great either. That's, you know, not a good look on me. But something along those lines. I would love a world that kind of breathes and, you know, lives on in its own. That to me is really cool, and it offers the most possibilities for like you know, what's today? Rust is pretty close. You know, Rust is the one I've never been able to like pull the trigger on. And it's mostly because I like don't want to, you know, if something's got upkeep for whatever. Hang on a second. Man, I'm going to have to like snake all of these, aren't I? It's kind of going to be a bummer. I'd actually like to take care of these dudes. That is free. Okay. Flames up and flames down. So flames up are easy. That's an easy get. That's an immediate. Then I'll do one of these. That blew up nothing. That's that. Wow, that's nuts. I really was not expecting that. Damn, is this not the way? I swore it was. Like, no. Oh, it's further? Now I'm like actually lost. What the hell? How did I get in there last time? And the follow-up to that was, are you into board games? Do you have a favorite one? I am so heavy into board games, it would blow your mind. I actually bought Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition, which is like a $200 plus game, and I've never played it, which is absolutely hilarious to me. That was really at the end of my board gaming, like where I really got heavy into it. We played my buddies and I started playing board games with Circle of Death, which I know isn't like a real board game. God damn it. But that's what got us into like drinking and playing games. That was like the gateway drug. And then I saw Small World was, I don't even remember where, in some store. And I was like, all right, I'll check this out. It seems cool. And it is. But I got home and like we would have like people would come over every Friday night. They come over, we drink and play board games or whatever. Oh my, this is going to be so damn slow. I'm actually going to do this because I'm like bored of that part. All right, that's something. I'll take it. I'll take it. So I brought Small World home and I was like, hey, Bridge, I picked this up. You know, it seems cool. And I opened it up and it was like 8 pages. And at the time, you got to remember, like, I'm, you know, a dude who was just playing Circle of Death and like hockey, you know, scoring tricks on those like simple games. And I opened this, I'm like, there's no fuck. I close it. I'm like, all right, I'm returning this. And Bridge is like, hold on, like, just relax. Let's see, you know, it might be cool. So she read the instructions because I couldn't be asked to do it, which is lame. But she also like managed to let us play like what was one of our, that really started us because it was like a bunch of guys who weren't really into that as much. And we played Small World after we learned the rules, or Bridge explained it to us, and we were like, this is great. What a great game. And it moved on from there. Then I got like heavy into board games. We were trying all sorts of shit. We played Evo. We played Evolution. I own, like, I'm looking at it now. I have so many board games. But my favorite by far is Cosmic Encounters. By far. One of the best games you can own. So good. More people you play, the better it is. Great alien powers. We would always play with like 2 alien powers. So you'd get some weird ass combinations that would just like break the game. It's so fun. And there's a lot of like dealing and negotiating and like it's really hard to king make in it because you can be like, well, I'm gonna attack this guy. You choose who goes along for your attack. And if you invade into these planets and you get to land there and, you know, create an embassy, after I think 5 or 6 you win. So if someone's already got 5, they don't get invited anywhere, and then other people will join the defending side to keep them from winning. So it's like this balance, it's really interesting, but it's also super fun. And my friends all were like, "This is the best." I also have what is it? Dead of Winter, which is cool. We never played the Warring Colonies, even though I bought that. But that one is a lot of fun. That's kind of more the randomness. You're just like, it's basically fighting off depression in a board game, straight up. Like, just horrible things keep happening, and you got to like mitigate it the best you can. That one's really, really good. I'm just gonna take a peek real quick. Well, okay, easy does it. I'll have to look. But Cosmic Encounters is one of the best ones out there. Also, Avalon, really, really good. That one is like I say like a lot. I'm trying to change that. So if, not that you guys can help me, but I'm just making a mental note. You take a bunch of knights out to complete a mission for King Arthur, I would assume. And one of you guys is like an agent of Mordred, and you need to kind of deduce who that is. And our squad is like really, it's fun when we're trying to deceive each other, and that. I also have Super Fight, which is only enjoyed by me and one other friend, even though we bring it places. No one ever, because it's basically like arguing. Uh, you basically, you get cards, and then you get like powers, and then you gotta like convince everyone around you why you won, or why your character wins. And one of my buddies named Moose, had, I think it was Medusa, who was invulnerable to, like, her skin was like impierceable or something. And my cousin had what was it? He had a leprechaun that, what was it? That had, it was something benign, like had a scooter, and the leprechaun won. And Moose lost his mind, and he said, well, leprechauns are the luckiest, creatures on their luck in personified, right? And everyone's like, yeah, that's fair. And okay, so he flips a large coin, and it flips in the air in just the right way that reflects Medusa's reflection back at her. And like Moose is starting to lose the group, and he's like, no, there's no way. And everyone's like, well, yeah. And my cousin's like, listen, if anyone could make that happen, like the perfect coin flip to reflect, right, the shiny coin and her reflection back, wouldn't it be a leprechaun? And we were all like, yeah, kind of. Moose lost it, dude. He's like, this is absolutely the fucking worst game. You guys are ridiculous. And that game is super fun because it's really, it isn't your cards. It's a little bit, but a lot of it is just like, how funny can you make it? Because that's what everyone's interested in. So that's a really good one. I wouldn't recommend that unless like Moose, that same person, well, that same night there was a person who came through that normally didn't, and she was like, she tried that game and it did not go well for her. Let's just say that. But she wasn't like a good sport about it either. So whatever. It's not for everybody. That's not one I would recommend. Avalon's really good. Coup is really good. Both of those are like social deduction, which I really like. Survive is really good. You're putting, meeples on rafts and trying to like get them off an island while people send like octopi after you and pull you on. It sounds stupid, but it gets pretty hectic because you don't know the numbers. Like some meeples are worth more and they're on the bottom, and only the person who put them on the ship knows which one's the most important. So, but there's Ticket to Ride is another. A lot of the classics. What is that one with the robber that everyone plays? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's not Carcassonne, but it's something with a C, I think, right? Settlers of Catan. There we go. But we'll play those. But we play a lot. What was it, Cube? Cube's a fucking wild one. Oh, and another really, really good one is Betrayal at House on the Hill. That board game is super cool. If you don't have that, that's a really fun one. Even like, I would say 80% of the people who used to come through for like game nights, well, that's not true, probably like 60%. Majority, though, would come through, did not play board games, and were not huge fans of them before. and left, like us, being like, yo, when are you... Ooh, that was almost nasty. Left going like, when are you guys doing the next game night? You know, people who never played board games at all. So some of those are awesome, but Betrayal and House on the Hill is amazing. For those of you guys don't know, you're building out this haunted house in like a grid. GTH Kingslayer, that was this and this. Easy. You're putting like squares down and building out this mansion. So every time you play, the mansion is different and it's really cool. And then after you find items in certain rooms, you consult this book, and you roll a dice. And if you roll lower than the amount of haunt cards or omen cards, you start the haunt. And then you look to where you found the item in what room, and then you consult the book and you find out who the betrayer is. And that gets super spicy. Sometimes it's the person who found the item. Sometimes it's the person who's the slowest at the time. Bear River City, Sir Fred. And we had some blast ones with that. There was one where one of us turned into a werewolf. And I had like the silverware, I think. And he bit me. And it became this really weird exchange because he bit me, right? And I'm going to turn into a werewolf in like, let's say like 2 turns, I think. And they were like, hey, give us the silverware. And I'm like, okay, but hear me out. And they're like, no. And I'm like, I'm going to be a werewolf, right? Soon. So isn't it in my best interest to like not give you that? And they're like, dude, you're still a part of the team right now. You can't flip. And like the werewolf's like, oh yeah, dude, you got to hang on to that. We got to win. And in the end, I was like, yeah, you know, in that moment, I would still try. But it was like one of those like, well, and the other reason is we would track all of our wins. So we had this dry erase board and we had everyone's win, you know, all the way down. We play for like, you know, spring into fall. And then whoever had the most, like, would get to choose the beer of their choice, and then we'd all buy it for them or something like that. Something small. So, like, the games were a little more competitive. And so that's, if that helps you, like, kind of understand why I was like, well, I don't know if I want to give you the silverware because I'm technically on the other team in, like, 3 turns. And they're like, yeah, but you're not on that team right now. And I agreed. You know, that's... Did I not? I didn't get that. DB? Oh, I had a feeling I'd get 1. I did not think it'd be 4. That's cool. So that was one of the scenarios, which was really great. Another one was someone turned into the blob, and he was slowly like expanding out in the squares, and like we were starting to get kind of tucked into like a back room. I was wondering where he was, man. That was a good spot. Is this also... Just want to check. He had like something there. And you had to like throw so many things into it until it like, you know, had like a tummy ache or some shit. Really want that, but not that bad. Where is that assassin at? Oh, he's down here. Probably like right there. Oh, no. But that one is really cool. And you read out the scenario. So the betrayer like goes to another room and reads out like he's given like some of the information. Oh, that is really... Oh, man, that was nuts. And then you know, those of you who are on the survivor team, you guys, like, consult. You get, like, half the equation, so he doesn't really know what you're supposed to be doing. You don't know what he's supposed to be doing, but you're all, like, working towards a goal. It's really cool. That game I would really recommend. That's a good one. Board games popped off. They're not like they used to be. They're really, it was COVID that sunk it. Once COVID, you know, killed my routine, I stopped, you know, inviting and doing that. And I really never started it back up because everyone started, like, doing shit remotely. And it was just way more convenient. Because I've been asked, like, hey, we going to kick this off again? And I'm always like, yeah, I would like to. But, you know, that's the thing is once I stop something, it's hard for me to continue. Thought I heard another one. I should kick that back up. I guess kind of bad movies have taken over for that. We'll do like a bad movie like once a month. It's also hard to do that once you have kids. I keep forgetting that. I'm like, yeah, you know, I should do more board game things. I should just get that going again. It's like, when, dude? You know, you got kids, man. Ain't nobody got time for that. But I take it you also like board games, Wookie? I'll tell you what. You ever... Well, you don't know where I live. And I can't tell you that, I guess. Alright, well. What the hell is this? Get bonked. Oh, boom cannon. Love ya. And then watch this even. Oh. Okay. That was unexpected a little bit. Ooh. Secrets. Ooh, I like this. It's my kind of base here. I was going to say, if I ever make it to Germany and you guys are playing board games, believe me, you'll have to translate all the German rules for me, but I'm all over board games. Love them. Did I mention that I played board games before? Or did you just guess that? Or were you just curious? I'm constantly shocked by, like, well, unless it is one of those, like, well, people who like this would like this, you know, kind of deal. Which also makes sense to me. Damn, that's pretty good. Or maybe you can put that future master's degree towards making a board game. Screw all that other genius stuff you're doing and betterment of humanity. Let's make a cool board game. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. But, you know, I imagine an engineer would absolutely know, you know, well, I guess depending on the engineer, right? Like I got my degree in meteor maker engineering and see where that got me. But I imagine someone of in that vocation would probably be able to be like, oh yeah, probabilities and etc. This and that. Yeah, screw your job. Make a board game. Funnily enough, this is a mildly secret omission. Not that no one knows it, but very few people know it. I actually played so many board... This makes me feel like... Wow, I really thought that was like... Well, maybe it is. No, it's just a cool... Oh, man, this is awesome. I had an idea for a board game, and it was right before, like, COVID smashed and the board games were kind of flooded, and it was going to be called Plutocracy, and it was going to be on a, like, space station where there were different factions in different areas that you had to placate through, you know, building wealth and giving diplomatic favors. It was, man, I don't know what the hell happened, but I had, like, I was in, like, hyper focus mode. I woke up at, like, 3 in the morning. At the time, I was a paramedic, so I was working 24s 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 2 times. So, like, my sleep schedule was all fucked up. And I got up and I was like, oh, man, you know what would be cool? Shit, this is the wrong way. What the f... How do I get out of here? It's this way, right? But, like, there's some weird turn. Dude. Think. It was something with this. Right? Yeah. And I just, like, wrote in a notebook. I still have that notebook somewhere, too. And it's, like, 4 pages of just, like, tight scrawling. Where I was like, holy shit. Like, if someone came across it, they'd probably think for sure I'd gone insane and was, like, coked up or something. Because I had all these ideas, like, scattered about that I didn't want to lose. But mostly it was about, like, the different characters, how you could, you know... There was a military sector. There was a... yeah, there was, like, a militant sector. There was the... pharmacology, you know, the medicine kind of thing. There was the plants, you know, the farmers, basically, the need for food. And you could do action cards that would, like, stop production, like blockade food, and people would get to, you know, you'd lose resources elsewhere because I'm just stopped feeding them. I control the farmers kind of thing. I control the food. And then there was like, yeah, man, I wish I could remember all those. Anyways, I'll end it there. That was a pretty good run today. Those are some good bases.